Welcome to Gouache with Anne. Today I'm painting Kensington Market in Toronto. I always start a painting with a drawing. A lot of what I paint is architecture, so it's really good to have already figured out the perspective and all the lines, and it really helps to be a little looser when you're starting to actually put the paint down. So so I thought I'd just show you. Maybe in future videos I'll do this as well, because it probably is kind of nice to see how I go about sketching it out. And you can see that I like to do kind of light lines, and I do use a kneaded eraser, which is a sort of like a gummy eraser, and I'll erase some of the lines if I find that they're not quite in the right spot. So I'm not that's good, because then I can adjust accordingly. I like to put in shadows, and kind of while I'm doing it, I get a sense of how am I going to paint this. That's also very helpful. I also I've put the painting on a board where I can use a T-square, so I can get the lines very straight, and I use a triangle as well. So I'm going to start this painting. I'm going to do it the same way as I did my last painting, and that is I'm going to do it as a watercolor using the gouache with a lot of water, and then I'll add the opaque gouache later. But here you can see I'm doing the sky, and then I'll do all the shapes of the buildings, and mostly the darker areas, and I'll save some of the kind of the lighter areas for after. So you can see in here that I've got lots of different colors going on in the background, which I kind of like. I think it's if I just did it in one color, it wouldn't be as interesting. So I like to add lots of different colors, and when I put in the opaque gouache, I'll do the same thing. So the red of this brick building is kind of what caught my eye, as well as the white umbrellas. So I'll make sure that that red really stands out when I put the gouache down as well. It's starting to look really nice, even just as a watercolor. So once I get that all done, I let it dry, and now I'm going in with a more opaque the gouache, but not sort of semi-opaque. You can see that you can still see some of the transparent watercolor washes in the background. I want to make sure that I get the sky a little bit darker because I want it to contrast with the red building. And also when I'm doing the clouds, I'll put a little bit of the blue down, or the white, and then smudge it with my finger. That softens it. Yes, so the red of the building is very strong, and I'll tone it down a bit when I finally get all of the other elements in place. For the awnings, I decide to, instead of putting the red lines down first and painting the white over top, I'm going to paint the background first, and then I'll put the red lines over top of that. And now I'm working on the darks on the underneath, where you can see it's quite, in the photo reference, it's quite dark, but there are some colors coming through. So I'll change up. You can see I'm putting a bit of green, a bit of orange, and then of course where it transitions from the shadow into the sunlight, it will become a lot brighter. I liked these two figures walking by. but I don't want to paint them too accurately, so I'll do them fairly loosely. Get the feeling of the motion, and that there's some people there, and there'll be some other people over where the white umbrellas are too. And again, I won't do those very accurately, just suggestions. The nice thing about gouache is when you put some of the colors down, if they're not quite bright enough or quite light enough, it's easy to let it dry and then go over them. For the windows, I like to add a few different shades as well for the because of course the sun is reflecting. The sky is reflecting in the glass, so you would never see it just as one solid color. One of the things I really liked about Kensington Market is that the buildings there have such character. The way they've been renovated, and they're very old, some of them. And it's interesting because new places come into Kensington, but they actually start to look old as well. Instead of the place being gentrified, it's like it goes backwards. When I'm putting the lines on the awnings, I like to make sure that I'm following them in the right direction, and that kind of gives them their structure. And this painting, I loved the awnings. Yeah, I always like anything that has some stripes. It adds a nice little pattern to the painting. When I'm putting in shadows like I am here, I try to get the two different colors, the color for the shadow and then the color for the red that's in the shadow. So I make it a slightly different red. It's hard sometimes to do a really good straight line, so it just takes patience, and also just it's okay with the gouache, you know that you can correct it. So if you can either correct it by going over the like in this case the pole, or you can correct it by going over the background. I tried a few different colors and finally got the right one for the road. I didn't want it to stand out too much. So that was good. And now I want this white umbrella to be really white. So I'll make that stand out. With the figures, I'm just going to quickly put in some colors and a few shadows for their with their clothes. I'll put a few stripes in for the guy's jacket sweater that he's wearing, and that's about it. I don't want to fuss too much. There's some nice details at the top of this building, so I'm gonna put those in. Just marks, really not spend very much time, and it will read like the way it is. And to tone down the building now, I'm just going to put in a few different shades of the red, and I will also put in a little bit of the brick detail and a few spots of white, and it gives it a little bit of texture and tones down the brightness. And there you can see there's the finished one, and I hope you like this one. I kind of like doing it with the watercolor at the beginning, and then the more opaque gouache at the end. Also, you can see here that I've put in a lot of the wires that kind of add to the character of the whole place. So I hope you enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button below if you don't want to miss out on any new videos. Comment if you have any questions and I'd be happy to answer them. Like the video and keep watching either the next video on the left or playlist on the right. See you next time.